What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Gamescript. We're looking at Monday Night Football between the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals, and we got the highest totals game on the slate on the entire week coming up on Monday night. Who should we start in the captain? I'll get into it right after this. What's up, guys? Simon Edwards at PumaCom here with Heat Seeker Sports, and you're watching Gamescript, looking at Monday Night Football between the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals. We got a 53.5-point total. This is going to be in Dallas, which is basically the Coors Field of the NFL this season. And we got Dallas as 3-point favorites in this one. And we have a situation with Kyler Murray where it's going to be Jacoby Brissett starting again this week. But Kyler Murray, according to the head coach of the Cardinals, should be potentially involved in this game. So I don't know what that means. Maybe he'll be involved in some run plays or whatever. But we'll break it down here in a second. Make sure to hit the like button. Get me to 70 likes so I can put my favorite plays in the comment section when we get closer to lock. You want to do that because it's been on a tear with the captains lately. We had Sam Darnold in the comment section as the captain recommended last night, and he ended up hitting for us with a monster game and basically had Torrey Horton in there stacked with him, and that ended up hitting as well. So been on a roll with these captains. We had what's his face, Kraft from Green Bay a couple games ago, and we've just been nailing these captain plays. So you definitely want to hit that like button so we can get those captain plays in the comment section. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Looking for 2,200 subscribers. I need about 60 to get there. You want to subscribe anyways to get access to the secret weapon coming out within a week or two before Thanksgiving. It's going to be a great resource for helping to figure out some of these obscure plays that I'm always giving you on these shows. So make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel because I'm going to be giving a free beta preview to my YouTube subscribers. So you need to be subscribed to have access to that. And you want to subscribe anyways to get alerts for when these shows come out. Let's go over to the main stage here. Make sure to subscribe also or open an account with Underdog. Use the promo code SEEK, SEEK, and you're going to get a $100 $100 in bonus cash from Underdog when you play your first $5 play. Take advantage of that, and I make money off of that, and that's basically how I make money on a lot of these content that I'm creating right now. So that helps me out. So if you help, if I've helped you out with some of these captain picks or some of these recommendations or lineups that I'm building on these showdown shows or main slate shows, crushed it on the main slate too with the Joe Flacco stack, double stack with Cincy. Help me out. Open up an account with Underdog. Use the promo code SEEK, SEEK. That's how I make my money, and I appreciate that. Also, with BetMGM, use the promo code HEATER1500, and you get up to $1,500 risk-free bet with your first bet. So if you bet $200 on something and then it ends up losing, then they'll give you $200 in bonus funds. So up to $1,500 on that. So let's get into it. Going to look at the injury report first. So we'll take a look at Arizona first. And we got, like I said, Kyler Murray is still questionable, but could be involved in this game. Don't know what that means, but, maybe it's a situation where he's soft benched right now and they're riding the hot hand in Jacoby Brissett. Kyler Murray's been playing like ass this year. and he's just basically an ass quarterback. If you've been watching for the past few years, I have not been a fan of Kyler Murray for the last few years. Trey Benson and James Conner both on IR. So we're looking at a running back situation between Bam Knight and Emari Demercado. As far as left guard, we're missing Hayden Conner. We got some damage to the offensive line, as you can see. For the defense, we're missing a couple guys on the defensive tackle, Walter Nolan and LJ Collier. Bunch of other guys on the defense are on IR or out this week. Sean Murphy Bunting is significant. And we got a couple guys questionable too, with Will Johnson and Katan Crawford. Other guys on IR, Garrett Williams, Starling Thomas, Joey Blunt. So we're looking at, a lot of people in the secondary are out or questionable. So banged up secondary there. They were already teed up for Dak Prescott to take advantage of anyways, the way that he's been playing lately and the way that they just sling it in Dallas. You can expect both these teams to come out aggressive, knowing that it's going to be necessary to throw it probably about 50 times to win this game. We got the center for Dallas out. Looking at Dallas, we got Cooper Beebe out on IR. We got a few other guys banged up on the offensive line, as you can see. Trevor Keegan on IR, Rob Jones on IR, and then Cornelius is questionable on the right tackle. Let's see. As far as the defense, a lot of guys out on defense, teeing up Jacoby Brissett once again to have a decent game. As far as the linebackers, we're missing Overshawn and Sanborn. Both are out. On the secondary, we got Malik Hooker out. Trayvon Diggs is on IR. Josh Butler's on IR. Looking at Thomas is questionable. Donovan Wilson is out for safety. Elijah Clark also out for safety. And Malik Hooker on IR. So all these safety damage, you know what that does for us? That makes us like the tight end on Arizona even more than we already do. We go over to the DraftKings slate here. Trey McBride is going to be in a good situation. Already liked Trey McBride, but now we like him even more with all this damage to the safeties of Dallas. The Cowboys are allowing, 12.4 DraftKings points a game to the tight end position. That's a middling matchup, but all this damage to that secondary makes it even better for us. So Trey McBride plays much better with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett unlocked Trey McBride. He's had 3 touchdowns already with Jacoby Brissett versus 1 touchdown in 5 games with Kyler Murray. So we saw it last year with McBride too. He only had like 1 or 2 touchdowns all last season, I believe, last year. So Kyler Murray's just a downgrade in general for Trey McBride. So having Jacoby Brissett as the starter, allegedly, is a good situation for us. Let's see. Yeah, he's already named Jacoby Brissett as the starter. Just wanted to confirm that. So, yeah, Murray, we might see him involved in some running plays when they're having all this damage at the running back position. Dak Prescott, been on a roll this season. He's just been on an absolute tear. He's had 2 down weeks where he had under 10 DraftKings points, but every other week was over 20 DraftKings points, and we even had a 34-point week in there. Dak Prescott gets a matchup against Arizona, which has only been allowing 15.7 DraftKings points a game to the quarterback position. But, this is a situation where we know that Dak Prescott's going to throw, and you can see the games where they're at Dallas. He's even better when he plays at home. He had a 23-point week. They scored 44 points. Let's see, he had a 34-point week, and he had a 26-point week. So 3 of his better weeks were playing at home. Surprisingly, those are the only weeks that they've played in Dallas. So good opportunity here on Monday Night Football for Dak Prescott to have a big game. Looking at Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams has had a rejuvenated year. He's had a few weeks over 20 DraftKings points. Just been a stud so far this season. And Arizona is giving up 28.4 DraftKings points a game to the running back position. We got 2 good matchups for running backs in this one. 23.1 for Javonte Williams. Dallas has been giving up 28.4 DraftKings points a game to the running back position. That benefits Bam Knight, also known as Zonovan Knight. Zonovan Knight has not done too much so far, but he gets a cushy matchup here, which should be a good recipe for success for him. He's going to be, I believe, splitting the backfield. Let's take a look at that depth chart again here real quick. The backup is, Emari Demercado. At one point, Emari Demercado was looking like he was going to be the main starter with these guys hurt, but he did some sort of a fumble, and it ended up costing him, like putting him in the doghouse, and that gave Bam Knight the opportunity to kind of take over that role with the damage to the running backs of Arizona. So Demercado is not a guy that we're going to want to sleep on, just in case. He's at 4,500 for us. Actually, that's his captain price. His real price is $3K. So he's very cheap, and he's in that good matchup too. Trey McBride, I went over already. Kyler Murray. The good thing about Kyler Murray not being officially ruled out is that Jacoby Brissett is only 8,600, and Jacoby Brissett finds himself in a matchup where Dallas has been giving up 24.9 DraftKings points a game to the quarterback position, and Brissett's already had 2 big games, 24 DraftKings points and 21 DraftKings points against Green Bay, a much tougher matchup, and Indy. So Brissett showing he's capable in this system of putting up a decent amount of points. We got CeeDee Lamb in a good matchup with Dallas giving up 12.4 DraftKings points a game, or actually Arizona giving up 11.4 DraftKings points a game to the slot position. So not the best matchup, but like I said, this is going to be anticipated as a shootout regardless of what the matchups are. But maybe we can get an idea of what the best matchup is. And I think slot does the best for the matchup against Dallas, according to Rich Rebar over at Sharp Football Analysis. Let's see. They've allowed 3 touchdowns to wide receivers this season, all coming from the slot. So that's a good situation for CeeDee Lamb. Let's see. We've gone through all these guys. Going on to Pickens. Pickens in a good matchup as well. I would anticipate, them throwing a decent amount to Pickens in this one as well. We can make a pivot to him if we see the ownership favoring CeeDee Lamb more. Marvin Harrison Jr. should find himself in a good situation with that banged up secondary, and Dallas giving up 27.7 DraftKings points a game to the wideout position. So, just an absolute sieve. and we have not seen him have any benefit from Jacoby Brissett, but that could change in this one. He's got the best matchup he's gonna be able to ask for, so maybe he lives up to all the hype that he had before he was drafted, before he became NFL wide receiver and realized that nepotism can only get you so far. Having a last name or the adopting the name of your father, who was a great wide receiver, does not make you a great wide receiver in the NFL. Let's see, we got Jake Ferguson, also in a good matchup, threw up a goose egg last week, but you can bet that, like he's not going to, do the same thing 2 weeks in a row, especially with Arizona giving up 16.2 DraftKings points a game to the tight end position. And he's had several weeks over 20 DraftKings points. He's basically been the number 2 in the passing game while CeeDee Lamb was out. But even with CeeDee Lamb back a couple weeks ago, he still put up 22 DraftKings points. Bam Knight went over him already. Let's move on to Aubrey. Aubrey is always going to be in play, especially at home. In Dallas, 17 DraftKings points, 22 DraftKings points, and 8 DraftKings points. So, Aubrey is always in play, and this should be a perfect opportunity for him to score some long field goals potentially, with that Arizona defense being a little bit tougher to pass on. Maybe we see Dallas attempt a few more field goals in this one. Chad Ryland, just a stud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks over double-digit DraftKings points as a field goal kicker. Just about every week making at least 2 field goals, and except for week 5 where he had no attempts in that game. Michael Carter got demoted. They dropped him, and then they put him on the practice squad, and now he is an option to be elevated from the practice squad. Not sure what's going to happen there, but like I said, it looks like Demercado is going to be the official number 2, and he does not carry an injury designation this week. So, yeah, I would look at Demercado as the number 2 in this one. Checking the depth chart, yeah, that says the same thing to me. Let's see what we see over with Michael Carter. He had that one big week in week 5 where he had 18 DraftKings points, and then he kind of fell off a cliff. But, keep an eye on the inactives. We'll see if Michael Carter gets called up in this game. Maybe he has a decent role in this one. Zay Jones should be in another good matchup against Dallas. Looking over at the snap counts for these guys, Michael Wilson, 82%, Marvin Harrison, 86%, Zay Jones, 54%. Now, a couple weeks ago, we saw Zay Jones up to 79%. For whatever reason, in that one, Harrison was down to 23. Wilson was still consistent at 75. We've seen Wilson consistent pretty much all season. Zay Jones has fluctuated. He had that 179% week, and then he went to 54. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that was. But, Marvin Harrison, for the most part, has been in this, 86% range. He had that one dip there. Maybe Harrison was hurt in that one. I'm not sure what exactly happened there. But Zay Jones definitely in play in this matchup for us. Could be sneaky, too. And he's cheap at 4K. Cowboys D, I'm not really too interested in the defenses in this one. Let's see. Tolbert, 3,600. Let's take a look at the snap counts for these Cowboys. We see Turpin, 41%. Always like Turpin. 80% for Pickens, 19% for Tolbert, 72% for Lamb, 46% for Flournoy. So Flournoy and Turpin, good options for us, sneakier options for us, especially over Jalen Tolbert. For some reason, Tolbert has just not been featured in the offense this year. He had a few weeks where he was up over 70% usage. Looks like those were when CeeDee Lamb was hurt, but then when CeeDee Lamb came back, he's the one who took the biggest hit. Would have expected Turpin to take a hit. Yeah, Turpin went a couple weeks at 60%, and then he went down to 30 and 40%. So Turpin taking a dip too with CeeDee Lamb's return. Take a look at, let's see, Cardinals D. Nah, not too interested there either. But, in a shootout situation, either one of these Ds could get a pick six, but I'm not too interested in them. Michael Wilson is cheap for the amount of usage he gets. He's at 3,200. 4 targets, 5 targets, 4 targets, 6 targets. You saw he's in there for about 70% of the snaps too. So he just doesn't put up many fantasy points, but he's definitely in play for us. He plays the slot where Dallas is giving up 12.4 DraftKings points a game. So, yeah, he's going to be in play for us, but not as good a matchup as the wideouts get, and that's Zay Jones and Marvin Harrison. Zay Jones might be the sneaky one here with that good matchup with the Cowboys giving up 27.7 DraftKings points a game to wideouts. So Flournoy, another guy, 2 targets last week, 0 targets in week 7. I think he was hurt in that game. And then we had 6 and 9 in week 6 and week 5. So he's capable of getting targets. He had a 121 DraftKings point game. So Flournoy is definitely a guy we can keep on our radar. Greg Dortch, not too much happening with him. He was a good option a few years ago, but looks like he's getting a few targets a game, but he's just not doing anything with them. He did have a touchdown a couple weeks ago, but even with a touchdown, he only put up 9 DraftKings points. Turpin's the guy I'd be more interested in this price range. Turpin, we've seen big games out of him in the past, and I would not be surprised in this setup, like with Arizona's defense being pretty good against the pass, if maybe Turpin gets some opportunities in this one. 5 targets last week against Denver, which was another tricky defense. 4 targets versus Green Bay. Good defense there. He didn't do anything with them, but he's capable of breaking off a big one. We've seen 15-point week out of him already this season, but historically, Turpin's been able to put up some pretty good games. Schoonmaker, 3 targets last week when Ferguson got goose-egged, put up 4.5 DraftKings points, but not really doing anything. Blue is the backup to Javonte Williams. So Blue might be interesting for us. Let's see what kind of usage he's been getting here. I want to look at his snap count. Looking over at Blue's snap count. We're looking over at Fantasy Pros to get this information. Blue had a 19% snap count last week. Not as much, well, just about as much as Hunter Lipke. Those guys were both in that 18-19 range with Miles Sanders hurt. Javonte just getting the bulk of it with 72% of the snaps. If we look over at Arizona while we're here, we can see Carter had 37% before the bye. Zonovan Knight had 45%. Dearness Johnson had 18%. So maybe, Carter was out that week. We got to keep an eye on this running back situation because I'm not sure what I under the impression that Emari Demercado is the backup, but Michael Carter potentially getting called up again, could be the direct backup to Zonovan Knight. And maybe, maybe this will be sneaky for us with, people being confused on that, if we can get some insight on that. So keep an eye on the comment section. Hit that like button. I need 70 likes to put my picks in the comment section. I'll make some comments about the running back situation too for Arizona. Let's see. Lipke, the other guy in Dallas, not really seeing much usage there, but $400 could be sneaky. Trying to see who else we got here that would be interesting. Not really seeing too many names that stand out. So let's go ahead and build this lineup. We saw Treylon Burks last night. After doing some research on him, I put in the comment section that, I thought that he might get some work, but you only want to sprinkle him in. He was a $200 guy, I believe, in the game last night. He ended up getting a catch. Was in on a couple plays. I think he got targeted a couple times. He made a good catch though, but paid off his salary with that catch. I believe got a couple points off of that. So that's what we're looking for when we dumpster dive. We're hoping to get a breakout like we did with Dulcich when I recommended him a couple games ago. Right now, the only interesting one that I see in that dumpster dive range is maybe Lipke. Yeah, he's basically the only guy that I'd have interest in. But I'm not nearly as interested as I was in Treylon Burks or Dulcich the other day. So let's go ahead and build a lineup here. Lamb's going to be a popular option and captain, I would imagine. So let's get him in there. Building around him, we're going to want Prescott. On the Cardinals side, Brissett is cheap, so let's get him in there, and let's get McBride in there and see what that does for us. Going to leave us with $2,900 per guy. Let's get some salary relief, and let's get where's Michael Carter? He's actually expensive. That's going to be another reason why people pass over on him. So he could be interesting for sure this week. Let's get Turpin in here. Leaves us with 3,800. That gives us options like the defenses or Michael Wilson or Demercado, if we like him, and Flournoy. So we got a lot of options in Jaden Blue too. We got a lot of options there at 3,800 if we get Turpin in there. If we want to get Jones in there and go with one of these guys under 1,800. We got Blue as an option. We got Schoonmaker and Spanford, another one of these Dallas tight ends, and Lipke too. So got some options there with Sam and with Lamb and the captain. Let's swap out Lamb for Pickens. That would leave us with options like Carter. Actually, that's the only option that it would open up is Carter. Let's clear that. Let's put McBride in the captain. He's another guy that I would like. And let's give him Brissett throwing to him. And let's put Prescott and Pickens in there just to give us some salary relief. Gives us 4,300 per guy. Let's say we want to put that kicker in there, Ryland. Leaves us with 3,700, and we got options like Tolbert, Cardinals D, Michael Wilson. Probably go with Wilson there. Gives us a 4-2 stack in favor of the Cardinals, but I mean that stack comes together nicely. Let's take Ryland out. Let's put Aubrey in there since we're going heavier on the Cardinals, and we still get Wilson in that one. Takes out the Cardinals D, but I'm not really concerned about that. So this is a pretty good build there too. Helps us get a nice build there. Let's clear that out. Let's get sneakier here. Let's put our favorite guys in the flex. So let's get Lamb, Prescott. I haven't used Javonte yet, but let's get McBride and Pickens in there. Who else would we want? Let's get Ferguson in there too. There's so many options. Actually, let's get a starting running back. Let's get Bam Knight in there. So we got Bam Knight and Trey McBride. We got Prescott double stacked with Pickens and Lamb. Leaves us with 4K. It doesn't really give us a good guy in the captain in the cheaps. So let's take out Pickens and let's put in Ferguson and see what that does for us in the captain. Michael Wilson in the captain. At least he's can build a case for him. Let's take out Ferguson. Let's put in Brissett. $4,200 in the captain. Still leaves us with floor nights. This strategy is not going to work in this one. I don't like that. How that comes about. So let's go ahead and let's put. Dallas is giving up 28 DraftKings points a game to the running back position. Let's say that Bam Knight has a big game in this one. Let's put him in the captain. And let's put Lamb, Prescott, McBride. Get all those guys in there. I want another weapon for Dak in this one. Let's put Ferguson. Puts us at that 1,300 range. It's tough with these shootouts because we want to get a lot of these studs in there, but it's tough to get these studs in there sometimes. Let's go with Pickens. Gives us 3,300. We can get Wilson in this one, which is pretty good. So we got Dak stacked with Pickens and Ferguson, and then we got McBride, Knight, and that would give us like Wilson too. So we're just playing for a shootout in that situation. Let's clear that out. Let's get Dak in the captain. Try a Dak one. See if that builds well. Stack him with both his studs there. Let's try to get McBride in there too. We'll throw in Turpin in this one. 3,800. So we got the defenses, Tolbert, Wilson. Wilson would probably be where I'd lean there, or Demercado. Leave some salary on the table. So, yeah, I mean, you can build a decent lineup with Dak and the captain, double stacked with Lamb and McBride. You still get, or Lamb and Pickens, you still got McBride in there. You got Turpin. A lot of good options there with Dak in the captain, but he's going to be popular probably. So, a lot of this is going to be contingent on what the ownership looks like. That'll help me narrow it down with my favorite picks. I'm going to do one more because, like, in these shootouts, it's like you've seen all these, like, different captain options that we have. It's going to be tough to narrow it down. Usually I'm more dialed in on the captain when I do these shows, but like this particular one is going to be a little bit tougher. Let's put Williams in the captain. Let's skip Dak in this one. Let's put in Lamb. Let's put in McBride. And let's get Brissett in there. And let's go down to Turpin again. Let's put Turpin in there. 4,600. We got the Zay Jones option, which I like because we got Brissett in there with McBride. So, I mean, this is a pretty good build right here, too. You could take out Lamb. We could put in Pickens instead. Leaves us with 6,600. It doesn't really do much for us. Let's get Turpin out of there. Let's put in that kicker. Let's get Aubrey in there. Since we don't have Dak in here. See, what I do here, because I got a running back and the captain, normally a good correlation with the running back and the captain is the defense. But also I think that kicker is a good correlation play because usually with the running back, they're rushing the ball a ton, getting the touchdowns on the ground. So any work that Dak is doing in the passing game isn't converting to touchdowns because Williams is taking it or Aubrey is kicking field goals. But Pickens is the one that he's primarily moving the ball with. We got Brissett to McBride. On the other side, maybe Brissett is having a lot more success converting on touchdowns. And we're going to want another guy with him to do that, and Wilson would be perfect. Demercado, another potential option there. Dortch. If I got Brissett and McBride in there, I probably want another receiver in there to justify having Brissett in there over Dak Prescott. So that's where I'd go with Michael Wilson there. So, I mean, this one builds pretty well, too. I like this build a lot. I think I like this Williams build more than I like those other builds. But plenty of options for us on this slate. So once I get it more dialed in, I will put it in the comments section. You just need to make sure to get me to 70 likes so I can provide you with that. Sign up for that Underdog account. That's what helps me out with making some money. And they're going to give you $100 for free. The graphic says 50. Ignore that. With the the software that I'm using, every time I try to change this graphic, it just screws up my entire setup, and I for whatever reason I can't figure out how to sort it out. So I need to put more time into that. But for now, just ignore the 50. It goes to 100 when you play your first $5. Use the promo code SEEK to access that and unlock yourself over on BetMGM using the promo code HEATER1500 for that $1,500 risk-free bet up to $1,500. And good luck, guys. Keep an eye out for the Underdog video. Oh, by the way, the Underdog Sunday video ended up hitting for us. Made us only 6x I had it slated for 76x, but I had stupid, who was it? Deontay Thornton on the Raiders, with the Raiders having a great matchup against the defense that they were facing for wide receivers. I had Deontay Thornton in there as an anytime touchdown, and he ended up being declared inactive before the game because Tyler Lockett got signed to the roster. So they benched their great potential rookie for Tyler Lockett. And, apparently old man Carroll thought that Lockett would be, throwing an old guy Lockett, like another Seattle guy, in with Geno Smith would work some magic, but it did not. Actually, let me check and see what they did. I think they actually won the game, but Lockett was only targeted a couple times. But regardless, my pick'em ended up hitting, and everything except for the anytime touchdown. Because he was inactive, they voided out that particular play. They ended up losing 29-30. They went for a 2-point conversion in overtime, and they missed on it. But yeah, with the void of that anytime touchdown, that ended up winning 6x for people who tailed on that underdog. But long story short, like the underdog pick'em hit somewhat, and it was a 6x conversion. I've already hit an 86x one on one of those videos that I produced earlier in the season. So those things hit. So I only put like $5 on each of them because parlays in general are just a long shot. And if you hit, you can do real nice. If we're considering $5, like the unit, whatever you want to call it, we'd be up probably about 50, 60 units just by putting $5 on each one of these parlays, or not parlays, pick'ems that I'm putting out there for these underdog videos. So keep that in mind. Sign up for an account. When we get to playoff best ball, that is where we're going to make our money, because I've just crushed on those ones. I won 2 tournaments last year with playoff best ball on underdog. I won 1 on underdog, and I won 1 on DraftKings. So I won the mitten 3 or whatever it was called over on underdog, and I won one of the single entry tournaments over on DraftKings. DraftKings was super easy to win on playoff best ball, but underdog was pretty easy to win too, and it's the most fun for like a game that you can play outside of Showdown. So make sure to open up that underdog account, get a head start on it, and I will see you guys for the underdog video.